Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Ninja Chickens channel. My name is Maria, and this is a mostly knitting podcast with some natural dyeing and homeschooling and homesteading, but mostly about fiber. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you guys here this morning. It's early Sunday morning. I wanted to get out and be able to podcast before the rain starts and before the wind starts. We've had really beautiful weather lately. It's been sunny and t-shirt and shorts weather for a while. Well, I guess most of this past week. And every Monday it seems to pour. So I've been podcasting the day before instead so I can get outside. And you guys can hear some of the morning chatter going on with the animals out there and hopefully enjoy being outside a little bit. I'm up in the treehouse again, but the frogs have stopped their mating calls, so it's not so loud anymore. You can see the pond right behind me, and that's our house. It looks like a spaceship, and the chicken coop. And you'll probably see some cats and chickens running around soon. You can find me on Instagram as ninja.chickens and all the show notes at ninjachickens.org. And I'm on Ravelry as Ninja Chickens. This is my Matter Dye Hap, and I'm wrapped up in it this morning because it's a little chilly this morning. It's supposed to get to about t-shirt weather this afternoon, but then the rains are going to start, and they're calling for at least an inch of rain. And I actually really love it when we've had some hot, dry weather and then it pours for a day or two. It just feels so refreshing. So, yeah. I have a few works in progress for you and lots of fun things to chat with you about. So welcome, grab your tea or coffee and your knitting and enjoy. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day today. The first thing I have to talk with you about is last episode, I mentioned something that offended a few people and I wanted to apologize. I called myself a bit of a spaz. And apparently in the UK, that is a very derogatory term. And I did not know that. In the United States, it simply means hyper, or for something to be spastic, it's an uncontrollable energy. And so, you might say someone's leg is spastic if they have, restless leg syndrome or something, or they're sitting in class and they can't stop moving. It is simply another adjective. It's not at all a derogatory word. So I apologize if I offended some of you. I had no idea that it was used that way in the UK. So for me, it just meant I think I was talking about, doing cables, that it's hard for me to work cables because I don't want to go slowly. When I knit, I like to move quickly because it helps to get out what I would call spastic energy, which just hyper energy. I'm moving a lot. It's rare that even if I'm sitting down at the table, my legs, bouncing up and down, or I'm talking, or my hands are moving. So it just means hyper. So hopefully I'll try not to use that anymore because that's a term that we use all the time around here, just to mean hyper, but I'll try not to use it so much anymore because it sounds like it's pretty rude in the UK, so I apologize. I did, however, find that I grew to like the cables, and this is my first finished object, my only finished object, and it is the Dixon skirt by Nora Gone. I love it. I really love it. I will admit, it's kind of like lace. When you're knitting, you look at the cables and you think, how are those ever going to make anything pretty? Because they look so bulky and uneven. And I really wasn't sure after putting all the energy into this that I was going to like it or that it would even fit. But it does both. I love it, and it fits perfectly. The ribbing fits nice and snug, and I thought that I wouldn't have to put the elastic in the top because here's where I folded it over. You can see the little opening here that I left to thread in some elastic. And I didn't think I was going to need it because it felt like it was pretty snug on the hips and it wasn't going to fall down. But the more I walked, the more it would work its way down. And by the end of a long walk, it would have fallen down if I hadn't pulled it up. So I decided to go ahead and put the elastic in it. And it's not tight at all. It's just enough to keep it in place. But I think it's beautiful. By the time I got through the cables, I wasn't minding them so much anymore. I got pretty quick with slipping in the cable needle and moving one stitch to another side and all of that. And some of you mentioned cabling without cable needles, and I've tried that before. It doesn't work for me. I think with the way I hold my yarn or tension my yarn, I always pull those stitches out. They always get dropped. So I always use a cable needle, but I love it. I think it reminds me of, I had said last time architecture, and someone mentioned Rivendell, and I think that's what it is. It looks like a little elven skirt or something. But yeah, super pretty, easy to follow pattern. So yeah, I also didn't think I was going to like the yarn because it's thick and thin, but I think that turned out really well too. It makes for a nice, the cables pop nicely. Let's see, did I do anything differently? I think I knit a size 42. It's all in my notes on Ravelry. I think I knit a size 42. Sorry, it sounds like there's a cat trying to climb up the treehouse. Because I wasn't getting a good looking fabric when I knit with the recommended size needle with this yarn. So I went down 3 or 4 needle sizes and knit a larger size so that it would come out nicely. And I think it's perfect. So Dixon skirt by Noragon. This is my first project for the Knit Your Bottoms knit along, the cowl that I'm having. There's a few people who've already put their finished objects in there, but it goes through January or June 1st, so there's still lots of time to knit something. And I do have, while I'm talking about it, I'll show you some prizes that I have. There's a chatter thread on Ravelry, and there's a finished objects thread. So you can go see what pretty things people have done. There's been some skirts and some bloomers, I guess you'd call them, underwear. And some really pretty projects, and I just put this one up, and I'm going to knit a second one that I'll show you in just a sec. But the prizes that I have for that knit along are a set of Dynamics yarns from Hey Brown Berry and her daughter, and this is her Maria colorway that she made last year, last fall, I guess it was, when she used Makers as her muse, and she called it her Maker Muse series. So it's a beautiful purple and a lovely gray. And this will be one of the prizes. And then the other one is a project bag. And I'm not going to unwrap it because I don't want to take it out of its pretty little container, but it looks like this because I have one for myself. It's the alpaca one that I showed you, the silly alpaca bag. And I just think they're adorable. So there will be a bag and some yarn, one going to the chatter thread and one going to the finished objects thread. So join in. There's still a month and a half to go, and it'd be really sweet to see more projects. And it's for knitting anything you can knit from the waist down. Shorts, skirts, leggings, bloomers, any of that except socks. So I hope to see you guys over there. Let's see. So that's my only finished object. My works in progress, I will show you. The first one is my second project for the knit along, and that is my Maya's Mameluker bloomers or underwear. And this is the top. It is many inches of ribbing, and then you start the bottom section. So it's a lot of ribbing, and then there's ribbing on the legs, and then you have some stockinette stitch for the front and back of your bottom. And I'm doing this in a blacker yarn. This is their Samite, I believe it's called, yes, which is a silk blend. And it's the Eternal Day colorway. It's a light fingering, I would say. So I'm trying to pull really hard on the ribbing so that it will be nice and snug. I'm a little bit worried about the cast on edge. I did a German twisted cast on, so it'd be looser. But I'm hoping I can get that around my hips. We will see. The main color is going to be more of a burgundy red. So there's that. Oh, I started talking about the the hat that I'm wearing, and then I forgot to tell you what was holding it. It's chilly, so I wanted to wrap up in the hat, but I was super excited to wear this, which was given to me by a lovely lady named Anita at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. And I want you to take a close look. It's a shawl pin, but can you see what it's made out of? It's made out of a long knitting needle, and I don't know how she did it, but she twisted it up to make a shawl pin. How cool is that? So I really like it, and I wanted to show this to you guys. I love it when people take and repurpose things. And she said she doesn't sell them. She just makes them for people and gives them away, but I think it's really nice. This is a 2mm. So there we go. Okay, my other work in progress is one that I was telling you about last time that I was excited to start, and that is my sock arms sweater, and that's a pattern by Stephanie Lotvin. And I'm making this out of all of my eco-printed or naturally dyed sock blanks, the new ones. So this is the bottom so far. I really wanted to cast on the arms first because I wanted to do the striping, but this pattern is written from the bottom up, and then you have a bit of a sleeve cap, and then you knit the sleeves from the top down. So I thought if I knit them from the bottom up, it would be hard to make sure that the striping was in the right order, or that I was matching it to where it needed to be to match the striping going from the shoulder. So if that makes any sense, I'm just going to go ahead and knit it as it calls for. So I've done this much. I'm almost done the hip decreases, and then I'll start on for the waist, and then I'll start on the bust increases. So I have a larger backside than I do top side. So this is, I cast on a lot for a large for the hips, and then I'm decreasing to a medium for my chest and for the rest of the sweater. And I think that's the only thing I've done differently. I'm using the needle size that it calls for. I just cast on a little differently, or a different number. So I love it. I think the color is turning out really nicely. And then I have the sleeves here. Let me show you. And I picked the order. Let's see. We're going to go from the sleeve cap, lavender, then yellow, then the aqua, then the white, which you can see a lot of the speckles from the eco printing in here, and then the green. So the sleeves will look like this. And I'll probably do, I don't know, 10 or 12 rows of each color and then repeat the striping. 2 of these have been eco-printed and 3 are just dyed, but without the printing. But these 2 have been printed. And you can see in there some of the colors. And this one, it's a bit more subtle. Let's see if I can get it to focus. You can kind of see little pops of orange in there. But I think once it's knit up, it'll show well, and I'm excited about that one. My husband and I are going away this coming weekend for our 15th anniversary, so I plan to bring a lot of knitting. We're going to take the camper, just the 2 of us, and go to a beach and hopefully do nothing but whatever we feel like doing. No responsibilities except to feed ourselves and sleep occasionally, and bring some books and knitting and maybe play on the beach. It's going to be really nice. So I might be able to get some of those finished soon. We'll see. So that's it. Those are my 2 works in progress and my 1 finished object. I haven't been working on a whole lot else. I did get a chance. Let's see, it was a week and a half ago. I got a chance to go to Ecoview Fiber Mill and see a Mexican weaving showcase and actually meet a man who does natural dyeing back in Teotitlán, I believe is how it's pronounced, in Oaxaca, Mexico. And his name was Omar Chavez Santiago, and he is a 4th generation weaver in his family. And he says there's a lot of people in his area that do dyeing, but very few did natural dyeing. A lot of them used synthetics, and because of how they do it and how most everything's done inside their small homes, and they're not wearing masks, there were a lot of people who, or some deaths and cancers that had developed from what they were doing, because the pots and, dyes were all done inside the house with everybody there and breathing in day in and day out. And so he and his family felt like it was a really good idea to try to get back to some of the traditional dyes that were from that area. So they asked some people that were still doing it and if they would teach them, and they said no, because then they would become direct competition. So they started researching and developing their own recipes as best they could, and have made some really beautiful, beautiful fibers and colors. And they use, marigold and cochineal and indigo, and there's deer. Oh my goodness. Oh crap. Sorry. I was pointing you guys to the pond. I was trying to get you to see the deer. There was a cat running and then a deer. I don't know if you heard it making noise, zooming off through the woods. Like, it was weird. I guess that's maybe a warning noise or something. It just ran off, which is quite possible. There's going to be a few others running past. So if there are, I'll try and get to where you can see it. They've been coming out lately. I know I showed you a while back that there was a deer years ago that came up the driveway and let my daughter pet her and give her a hug, and she seemed very calm. She's making noises again. And I wonder if some of these deer that we see coming through are her children. We saw 7 come through the other day, walk right up to the pond, take a little drink, and walk off. It was really cool. And Leaf was sitting in the hammock. Like, I'm looking at it right now. He was sitting there the other day, and a deer ran up the woods right beside him and didn't even notice him because he was just sitting there reading. So let's see if I can get this back into color a little bit, where it's not too bright. I don't know if you can hear that, but the deer keeps making this crazy noise. That's it. Maybe he's calling his friends or something. I don't know. Anyway, where was I? Oh, so, yes, so his family, there goes a cat. It's always crazy time out here. I swear there's no calm and respite in the woods. It's always crazy animals running around. So Omar spoke about his family and how they had been weavers for, like he said, he was a 4th generation weaver. So they'd been weavers for many years, and they got into also natural dyeing. So they dye all this beautiful yarn and then weave these amazing tapestries and rugs. And the whole family does it. I think he had one brother and a sister and his mother and father, and it's a family business. So this was his first trip to the United States, and he showed a short demonstration on how to dye with cochineal, which was a lot of fun. So while I was there, well, let's see, actually, it's called the Chavez Santiago Family of Weavers and Dyers. And they are on Instagram as Fe Lola, and I'll put that below so you can follow them. Absolutely beautiful work. And it says, since the early 90s, our family began to work with natural dyes in seeking to make a difference with our rugs among the rest of the weavers in our village. Here's this. So while I was there, I picked up these. They are hand-woven napkins. I just got 2 of them. But I thought, I'm not using them as a napkin. My kids aren't wiping their face on this. I thought it would be really nice as, I don't know, a small table runner or something to put on a little table as a highlight. Absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I would check them out. I love finding places and people. It's just weird. I'm focusing on you and I'm not being able to focus on what I'm thinking about. Everybody focuses on you.
How will you be then?
Okay, go away. So their work is absolutely beautiful. And I love finding businesses where you can connect one-on-one with the people who actually do the making. So that's a neat connection. And if I ever get down to Oaxaca, I will definitely go visit them and see what their whole setup is like and how they do what they do. So yes, let me see. Oh, other dyeing. I know that I was telling you, Kaya, my daughter, has been doing some eco printing on paper to make cards for a school fundraiser for her trip to France, and I wanted to show you those. She's made packs of 5, and they're all sold. She sold them to people in the community and friends and stuff. But I got a pack for my assistants with her crafting. And so let me see if I can open this up a little bit. This is going to go to a future gift, a future giveaway. So there's one. I like this one. These are some of the ones where she was smashing blueberries on the cards. And they came out like, there wasn't a print, it was more of a watercolor, and it was really beautiful. Here's another one. This one's the watercolor, but then you can see some carrot leaf here, and then up again up on the top. And this has some butterfly pea flower and some eucalyptus. And this is some rose petal and some hibiscus. Yeah, so that's going to go into my prize box for you guys. One other acquisition that I had that I wanted to show you about is, you all know Hey Brownberry. I chat about Mars all the time. She and her friend Kelly of the Celtic Cast On have started a business called Maker's Merch, and it is fun merchandise to celebrate the maker. And they have had kind of like a soft opening with 2 pins that they've made. I think she said the 24th. I can't remember exactly. I'll have to look it up and put it below. But their grand opening is coming up soon. But so far they have 2 pins that they have created. And one of them is maker community member, little bag pins. And then the other one, which I absolutely love, is Nitrovert. Which can go for introvert or extrovert or ambivert, but basically it's just, you know, that's your style, knitting. So it's Maker's Merch, or at Maker's Merch on Instagram. These 2 are also going to go in the giveaway box for you guys. So you will see them again in the future, depending on what giveaway they go to. So I'm excited to give those to you. Let's see. I am going to be having a release of the things that I eco-printed recently. My new sock blanks, the ones that are 100% wool, it's organic wool, and it's been eco-treated to be an ecologically processed superwash. And I'll have everything about that in the notes when you see them on Etsy. It has a little description of what kind of yarn they are. Those are going to be on April 25th, Wednesday, April 25th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's going to be all the rest of my 80/20 blanks, and then some of the new ones. So look for that if you're interested in getting them. It's the same price. And I'm excited to see how you guys like those. I think this is the new ones, and I think it knits up really well. I actually unwound the sock blank and then skeined it and soaked it so I could take out some of the crimp. And it still has a little bit of almost like texture to it, and that'll all block out. But I really like it. I like the feel. It feels woolly, but it's still really soft. So I'm excited to get some feedback from you guys and see how you like them. Let's see. So just a couple things. Oh, I have some giveaways. There was an Instagram giveaway, and that ended a while ago. And the book and yarn is already on its way to its new owner. But there was a YouTube giveaway for 6 bits in the comments related to the new issue of Reclaim that has some of my new patterns in it. And there were many comments. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's nice to read all of those and get feedback and hear how you guys are doing. The winner of that was Fairy Faye, and I've messaged you through YouTube. So congratulations. If you get in touch with me, I can have Melissa send you your issue of Reclaim. And then there was also a Ravelry giveaway related to those people who have not been to or didn't go this year to Edinburgh Yarn Festival. And that had a bunch of entries. Thank you so much. It was all about places, your favorite city to visit. And there was some really cool stuff there. A couple of you said Asheville, which I thought was neat. So if you're interested in traveling, I would recommend checking out that thread because there's a lot of good suggestions of places to go and why they're such good cities. And the winner of that one was number 78, Louise, who is LOESJEVDM. I have no idea how to pronounce that, so I'm just going to call you Louise. And if you will get in touch with me, I will send your goodies from Edinburgh Yarn Festival to you. And I believe you're in New Zealand, which is kind of cool that I go to Edinburgh to grab these things and bring them back to Asheville, and now they're going out to New Zealand. So these yarns and bag will have traveled the world. So congratulations, everyone. I don't have any other giveaways going on right now, just the knit along if you want to join in. Oh, another thing I wanted to chat with you guys about is a little bit of homeschooling. So sometimes people ask how it's done and what my day looks like. And for some people, homeschooling can take on a wide range, anywhere from standard school, but at home, like here's the assignment, we're going to do math for an hour, here's your workbook kind of thing, just at home, all the way to no curriculum at all and exploring life through whatever the kids' passions are. And some people call that more unschooling, where there's not an official school. We have a somewhat eclectic mix of it. Some of them go to, my kids go to some classes, some of them that are sit-down bookwork classes, depending on what they want. We also do a lot of hands-on learning. There's one thing that Leaf's been super interested in lately, and I wanted to kind of explain how we do that because it's a lot of fun and it gets me interested too. And when you're excited about school, whether you're a child or an adult, when you're excited about your learning, it just makes it a lot better. You learn better, you understand things better, you don't feel like it's drudgery to have to get through things. So I guess it's called self-directed learning, things that you're passionate about. Just like knitting, if you're super passionate about wanting to learn brioche, you're going to watch the videos, you're going to talk to people, you're going to really try to get your hands on and learn how to do it because it's something you're excited about. If your kids aren't excited about learning math, then it's just boring to them. But if you can present it in a way, which makes it hard for the teachers because we have to figure out how to find that fine line of learning and also excitement and enjoyment. And as the kids get older, a lot of it is more directed by them and what they're excited about, and they get to figure out how to create that education. So I was listening to Shackleton's Journey because I had heard about the book a long time ago through Fibertrack. Sarah at Fibertrack, she did this really long knit along related to this amazing, fantastic journey of Shackleton. It was her Shackleton knit along, and then she created a Shackleton yarn. So I heard this name and I'd mentioned it to my husband, and he said, "Oh yeah, I read that book a long time ago." So I was interested. So I started listening to the book, and Leaf heard part of it and was like, "I want to hear that." And I didn't know if it was going to be an adult book or if it was something he could listen to. So I finished listening to the whole thing, and then we got into it. And we're listening to it again together. And the story, if you don't know about Ernest Shackleton, is about this man in 1914. He was an adventurer, an explorer, and he wanted to be the first man to cross the Antarctic continent. And so he gathered a crew of 28 men, and a beautiful ship that was made to plow through ice and set off on a journey. And from the get-go, it went wrong. Everything seemed to go wrong. And without spoiling anything, you're on the edge of your seat the whole time thinking, how are they going to make it? In the cold, in the negative degree weather, in the gales, and the wind and the storms and the blizzards, and missing the perfect opportunities to go this way or travel that way or take the seals when they need to eat. It's such a good adventure. I would listen to it or read it. Actually, I'm listening to, it's called Shackleton's Journey. Oh, I can't remember the name of the man who's reading it. There are a few audiobooks, so I'll put it down here so you can see the name. It's a really good story. So Leaf has been getting really into it, and how we use this story to learn is, for example, history. Shackleton's Journey, we can talk about what's going on, how World War II had just started at that time, what might have been happening in the world during that time. We can talk about geography and the Antarctic and where it is, the animals of the Antarctic. We can use math to talk about, the temperature, Celsius versus Fahrenheit, and how far they're traveling, kilometers, knots, all of that stuff. We can take a look at we can look at a sextant or a compass, and figure out how to find out where you are on the earth, talk about longitude and latitude. There's so many things in this book that, like, every time we'll listen to a paragraph, he's like, what's in a daily penguin? Oh, I don't know. Let's go look it up. Let's figure out where they live and what they eat. Or, how cold does it have to be to get frostbite? All these things. It makes it so much fun, and he loves listening to the book, and I'm a little nervous about when it's done because I want it to keep going. But we've gotten another book written by one of the men who was actually on the journey, and because Shackleton's Journey is written by someone else who's looked through all the diaries. The men were encouraged to keep diaries. There were 28 men on the trip. They were encouraged to keep diaries, so he's gone through the diaries and written the story. So we've gotten another book by one of the men who was there to read through, and an activity book, and all kinds of stuff. And it's just been a lot of fun. And that has been taking up a lot of our school time. So, yeah, so that's one of the ways that we've been doing school. Once we're done that, I don't know where we're going to go next. If you have a book that you absolutely love, that's a really good adventure, let me know, because those are a lot of fun to incorporate history, geography, geology, all kinds of topics into. So yeah, I just wanted to touch base on that and let you know how we do school sometimes. Kaya is really interested in photography and psychology, so she's been reading up on some of that stuff herself. She'll take my camera and come out and do shots. She likes doing portraits of people, so she's been doing a lot of that. And psychology, she's researching and reading about a lot on her own. Yeah, so I think that's about it. I do have a tea recipe for you today. I know a lot of you really like the tea recipes. And when it feels like when I'm being super creative in one way, I lose some of the creativity in other ways. I don't know if you feel like that. Like when I'm really into a knitting project, I don't feel like spinning or developing a tea or that kind of stuff. It kind of goes into one thing at a time. But I did create something for you. It's a springtime tea, since it's now spring around here. And it's a fairly simple recipe. These things shouldn't be hard to find if you don't already have some of them in your cabinets. It's 3 parts lemon balm, 3 parts lemon verbena, 2 parts spearmint, and 1 part hibiscus and lavender. So those parts can translate to anything. 1 teaspoon, 3 tablespoons, as long as each thing is the same amount of measurement. So you could do 3 tablespoons of lemon balm and lemon verbena, 2 tablespoons of spearmint, and 1 tablespoon of hibiscus and lavender, and mix it up. And then you'd have, probably 10 or 12, I was going to say doses, 10 or 12 servings, 10 or 12 servings. So give it a try and see how you like it. It's light and lemony and minty and kind of bright and refreshing for the spring. You'd use 2 teaspoons per cup of boiling water and let it steep for about 5 minutes, and you should be good to go. So that's it for today. I hope you guys have a fabulous couple of weeks. I will probably have some beach pictures for you next time and maybe some finished objects. I don't know if I'll be done with them yet or not. There's a lot of ribbing and stockinette to go on those projects, but it's been a lot of fun knitting them, so maybe I will. Have a great couple weeks. We'll chat with you soon. Enjoy your start to May. I'll see you later. Bye. If that mockingbird won't sing